Hi there, and thank you for joining this workshop today. We are going to go over getting started with Reading Eggs. Now, this is a guide for both subscription coordinators and teachers. You can always feel free to skip ahead if we're going over something that isn't relevant to you. So my name is Jocelyn. I am an implementation specialist here at Edmentum. I spent a year over in support, which is where I learned the product itself. And I spent a year in early childhood education, so I have a pretty decent idea of what we are talking about when it comes to this. I'm also certified to seek employment from early childhood through 6th grade within the state of Texas. Today, we're going to talk about loading users. We're going to talk about the student experience. We'll talk about some teacher resources. We'll have a progress review, so going over reports. We'll talk about what to do next, our help and support team, and then a Q&A. So I want to start us off by talking about what this product is. Like it says on my handy little slide here, Reading Eggs is a dynamic 2-in-1 literacy solution. Reading Eggs begins at an absolute emergent level. So that means that they are learning those basic phonics, those phonemes, sight words, simple sentences, introductory comprehension skills. Reading Express focuses on literal and inferential and critical reading skills. So comprehension essentially is what we're building, as long with spelling and vocabulary skill building. Now we do have a nice little graph here that kind of delineates where you should move students up from Reading Eggs to Reading Express. But when people ask me when to move students up, it really depends on the students. This is absolutely your call as the educator. We want to make sure that students are getting the most out of it. So if you have a kindergartner that rolls in and they're reading within the first couple months and they are already reading on a higher level, a 3rd or 4th grade level, please feel free to bump them up to Reading Express. If you find that they're having a hard time in Reading Express, maybe you can pop them back down. Whatever works for you. Every license that you buy includes both, so you don't need to worry about that. So Reading Eggs is built on the 5 essential pillars of readings, and it includes an individualized learning path so that students are able to build their skills incrementally. Like I said, it is primarily a literacy solution here. It's designed to help kids learn how to read, whether that is at the very basic emergent level or at the comprehension level. There are over 2,000 ebooks within the program to help support that goal. There are teacher resources that help you support the program's use in your classroom, so you can print off things like worksheets, and there are reporting dashboards to measure student progress and report Lexile gains. Today, in the context of user management, we are going to talk about batch importing. We're going to look at a sample spreadsheet. We'll go over adding users individually, and we will talk about editing users. Before we go into the product, I do want to discuss some best practices. Reading Eggs has some features that are great for smaller schools and smaller implementations. It allows teachers to add themselves and to add their own students. Now, this is great for smaller schools, schools that don't really have the resources to pull off one person being in charge of user management. But if you're part of a larger implementation, there are 2 main best practices that you'll want to stick to. First is that there should be one person in charge of user management, and that person should be the subscription coordinator. The reason for this is that in situations where we just have teachers adding their own students all over the place, first of all, we hit that license count really quickly, and the license count is hard and fast. Everything kind of shuts down once you reach that license count, and if you go over it, you'll know. The second is we'll see a lot of students that there are multiple versions of. So we'll have 5 versions of Johnny, and we won't know which one is the best to pull reports from. We don't know which one has the most accurate data, and we just have a lot of trouble using the data and moving forward with it. So it really kind of compromises the product when we run into that particular issue. Likewise, the teacher is in charge of class management. That means the teacher is going to be monitoring progress and managing expectations. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and pop right into the product and take a look. When you first log into Reading Eggs, you're going to be brought to a page that looks just like this. Now, I am in as a subscription coordinator here, and the only difference is that subscription coordinators have a whole bunch of tools for management right here. Teachers will only have Manage Class. As a subscription coordinator, in order to import students, we're going to want to go to Manage Students right here. Now, the first thing I want to show you is that you can pull a sample file at any time within the program just by clicking Download a Sample File. It's going to come up right here. And this sample file, I'll go ahead and expand these for you. Is going to require that the students have their first name, their last name, their grade level, so pre-K all the way up to 12 if you would like, teacher email, and then an external student ID. Now, the external student ID is optional. It's not mandatory. The teacher email is also optional. It will sort your students into their classes if you have your teachers already in there. Now over here, I have a sample file, and you'll see that I have my students' first names, last names, their grade level, the teacher email, and a student ID. So what I can do is I can come right here, I can choose Upload a CSV, and let's see, RE Student Import, I can put that in right there. And it was uploaded without any errors. So as long as everything is correct on your spreadsheet, this is exactly what you should see. Now, if you do have any errors, what you may want to do is go ahead and reach out to our support team. Now, if you like what you see here, what you can do is click Proceed with Upload. And it'll say it's in progress, and we'll let you know with an email when it's done. So if you're not sure, you can come back down to your student list and you can just take a look and make sure that it's been done. And see, I've received the notification that my import has been completed here. Now, if you'd prefer, or you only have a handful of students to add, what you can do is come up to the top and you can add a student just like this. You can add them individually. You just put in their first name, their last name, their grade level, and you select their teacher, hit go. And that new student has been added. Now, let's say you need to edit a user for whatever reason. You'd like to edit their username or their password. Now, you can't set the username in the import, but you can come over here and you can edit it. Now, there are lots of Hermione Grangers out there, but maybe I would like this to change to HER Granger 1. Then I can change her password right there. Whatever I'd like to do, I can update the student. And now it says her username has changed right here. You can also go in and print our class logins right here. And this will bring up a little PDF of login cards that you can cut up and pass out to your students. So that kind of concludes our demo of the user management system. The next thing I want to show you is the student side. So as a teacher or anyone who has students in a class of their own, if you go to this home page, you'll see right here you can start Reading Eggs and start Reading Express. So I'm going to go ahead and start Reading Eggs. And if you'd like, you can also always log in as yourself and have your students just click in here for sort of an easy login method. You'll see that you have access to a demo student. That demo student is going to be on the final map. So what you can do is project this on a smartboard and go through a lesson together with your students if you'd like. Now, as for right now, I am going to go ahead and log in as a student that I'm fairly certain hasn't logged in before. I did just add a few people to my class. Let's go to Percy Weasley, and we'll let that load up. So the first thing that it's going to start with, and a place that you may want to be with your students as they start, if they are kindergarten, you know, very emergent readers, you can choose whether or not to start them with a placement test or start them at the very beginning of the program. So let's go ahead and take a look at that placement test.
I'm ready, and I'm going to ask you some questions to help you get started.
You'll see I have an Australian accent still set.
Click on the word cat.
So I'm going to go through here.
Click on B, as in boat.
That we have 3 smiley faces up here. The students can also replay the audio whenever they'd like.
Click on the sentence, I am Sam.
And I'm going to get this one wrong.
Click
You'll see
on
that one of those smiley
F,
faces go away.
as in fan.
Get one more right.
Click on the sentence, I am.
Click on.
Go ahead and end this. And so I got only 3 correct answers. So the placement test has determined that I am going to start on map 1. This is how it determines where your students go. Now you'll have the ability to reset this at any time if you would like, but you'll see it'll start you right here on map 1 if you don't get a lot of those placement questions right. So you can come here, and this is exactly what the students are going to see.
And I'm going to show you the sound like in mouse.
Click on
And so they're treated to these cute little educational games through here. And it's helping them develop these very emergent skills as a reader and associate those phonics with one another. So I'm going to exit out of this. I'm not going to make you guys watch me do a whole bunch of that. You'll see when you exit, as Percy, I don't have a lot of stuff going on. I do not have the ability to do much of anything because I'm only at map 1. Now, let's go ahead. Let's go over to somebody who's on map 20, demo student Jocelyn Thompson here. And you'll see I'm actually brought somewhere completely different the first time because it wants me to do different things now that I've been in the program for a while. I can exit out of this. That'll take me straight to my map, but I'm at the end of my map. So let's go here. And you'll see that I have access to all of this. So students will first and foremost be motivated by these eggs right here. And they can use their eggs to decorate their house, mess with their avatar, play games, just about everything that you can think of. As you can see, there's a ton that the students have access to here on their end. So I definitely recommend that you go into your own demo student account. Every teacher has one. Go in, play around, and see what your students have access to. Now keep in mind that as your students go through, things will unlock. They won't even be able to access the shop until they get to at least level 6. So with all of that in mind, let's go ahead, let's come back over here. Let's see if we can take a look at Reading Express. So here we are in as a student in Reading Express, and you'll see that it's pretty similar. It's got the same kind of feel, but this is a little more grown up. For example, instead of your house, you've got your own apartment now. You go to the mall instead of just a shop. And you'll go to an arcade instead of just games. So let's take a look at the map here. The map is very similar to what you find in Reading Eggs, but we'll see that the background is a little different. So let's click in here.
Cover story.
And keep in mind that this is
the
final map in Reading Express. So this is coming in at like a 6th, almost 7th grade level. And so we can see that from Reading Eggs all the way down to the end of Reading Express. We are going from very beginning emergent learners all the way down to pre-comprehension. So I don't want to bore you with making you watch me finish this up. So what we're going to do is go all the way over to back here, back to the teacher page. So as a teacher, I do want to show you what you can do. You can come over here to the lessons, and here we have preview lessons and manage lessons. The first thing I want to show you is manage lessons right here, so let's click that. Here is where you can adjust your students' progress, so we can click edit next to Harry Potter's name right here, and we can say, I want Harry Potter to take that placement test again. I'm just not feeling really comfortable here. Clinker Castle has been renamed Storylands, which is sort of an in-between for Reading Eggs and Reading Express. You can change the level for Storylands as well and hit that Save Progress. Likewise, let's say Ron Weasley. I feel like Ron needs to be working on the Z sounds right now. I don't really feel strongly about anything in spelling or Clinker Castle, so let's click that right there. And we have managed our lessons right there. We can also come up here and click Preview Lessons. And again, here's where you can preview the lessons without logging in as a student. You can also pull resources right here. So you can pull a student PDF, which is essentially a worksheet for the students. You can pull a teacher PDF, which includes something of a lesson plan in here. And recently, we've added Spanish student PDFs right here. So your English language learners that may be working on Spanish skills can get those same skills in a language they understand. Now, the last thing I do want to show you is our reporting dashboard, and you'll have to forgive me, my reporting dashboard looks a little bit bare because I cannot show you real data due to FERPA, which is totally fine. I wouldn't want to share real student data with you anyway, but I personally haven't gone in and done a lot. So as a subscription coordinator, you'll be able to see this dashboard for the whole school, and you'll see it just says no data. I am going to change this to last year just so that I can show you a few things. So you'll be able to see reading lessons completed, books read, and spelling lessons completed for the whole school. If you would like to narrow that down to teachers, you can click right here. And you can see what teacher by teacher looks like right here. You can also, if you don't work well with charts like I don't, you can come over here and create it as a table. And I find that that's a lot more readable for a lot of people. You can also click on the individual student and see how they're doing on their end all by themselves. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is our amazing support team. Let's go ahead and click Contact Us right here. You can email our support team through this nice little form here. You can also email right here. If it is urgent, please give us a call at 877-394-6695. Please keep in mind that it is kind of difficult to resolve issues over email. So if you are coming up on something that looks complicated or urgent, please give us a call so that we can troubleshoot with you. Thank you so much for joining our Reading Eggs webinar today. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day.